and then we'll get started. Okay, get yourself ready for your restorative practice. So have a blanket over the top of your usual yoga mat. Just give yourself a little extra comfort, a little extra warmth. If you've got a blanket, then, well, I would definitely recommend using a blanket because it's -1 outside. So if you haven't got the heating on or whatever, then you definitely need a blanket. Have a bolster for your knees. Have a couple of blocks for underneath your feet and a folded blanket for underneath your head. So this is our restorative yoga 101. This is the gear that we need to just give ourselves that extra spot of relaxation. So have something to cover your eyes if it's light in your room, just so you can create a little bit of darkness. Have the bolster underneath your knees. Have the blanket underneath your head. And then just allow yourself to just release into the floor. Have the blocks underneath your feet and allow yourself to release into the floor. There's always that really blissful few moments of letting the body rest into the floor after being on the go all day. So the first couple of moments on the floor are my favorite, because after having a busy day, it's finally the opportunity to just let go and relax. Observe how your physical body makes contact with the ground. Just focus on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. Just listening to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. Soften your jaw and your tongue and your throat. Close your eyes if you haven't done. And allow the body to release into the floor. Give yourself permission to relax. Commit to this hour of relaxation. Allow the body to consciously relax into the ground. Soften your jaw and your tongue and your throat. And observe that as you do so, you release around the face, around the eyebrows, around the forehead. Work to soften the muscles of the face. Draw your consciousness into the soles of your feet so that they tingle with awareness. Draw your attention into the soles of the feet, and then allow the soles of the feet to relax. Allow the skin to just broaden without effort, meaning that the underside of the foot, the muscles and the bone, just come into a state of relaxation. Draw your attention to the tops of your feet. And then consciously soften the tops of the feet, softening the muscles and the bones and the flesh and the skin, relaxing the top of the foot so that the feet become heavy. Draw your attention into the shins. Draw your attention into your shins, and then allow the muscle and the skin to soften around the shin bone, allowing the shin bone to sink into the calf muscle, relaxing the shin. Draw your attention into your knees. Just consciously softening around the kneecap, softening the kneecap into the socket. Draw your attention into your thighs. And then gently allow the thighs and the kneecaps to completely relax. Letting the fronts of the thighs sink into the backs of the thighs, letting the kneecaps sink into the back of the knee. Just feeling the heaviness of the legs on the bolster, the blocks, and the floor. Draw your attention into the pelvis and the abdomen. Draw your attention into your upper chest, feeling the lightness of energy that spreads into the arms. Relaxing your arms into the floor. Allow the muscles of the chest and the arms to completely release. Long, slow, deep, deliberate in-breaths and out-breaths. Surrendering your body into a straight line, bringing a lightness of energy into the pose. Gently release your arms into the floor, letting go of the muscles so that you just rely wholly on the floor that supports you in the bolsters, and the blankets and the blocks. Drawing relaxation into the tips of the fingers, the tips of the toes, into the upper facing skin. Allowing that feeling of energetic lightness to rise up into the head, into the skull. Relax the arms into the mat, letting go of the shoulders and the neck muscles. Observing how your head is supported by the mat or a folded blanket. And then let go of the tensions in the neck and the skin around the face. Allow the skin to gently stretch from the crown of the head down into the face, into the shoulders. Okay, when you're ready to disturb yourself from your blissful relaxation, just bend, so just wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers, and then very gently just bend your knees, bring your feet onto the bolster, have the feet apart and the knees together. Just resting into the floor. And then when you're ready, gently roll over onto your right side. Just stay down for a breath or two. And then straighten out the top leg, come back up into a seated position. Just sitting in cross legs with the hands on the knees. So just observe how perhaps you already feel like you've just revived your energy a little, just settled your energy. And just this half an hour could be all we need. But we have another half an hour, so we're lucky. So we're just going to do our side stretching pose, just to open up the shoulders, just to kind of really open up our energy. So for this pose, you want a softer bolster. So one of these oblong bolsters, if you've got one, is ideal. So just have that along the kind of top end of your bolster. If you don't have an oblong bolster, then get your normal blanket and then just fold it over so that it's kind of extra thick. And then you're just going to put that into, or you're going to rest your armpit chest into the folded blanket. So you put the folded blanket on the floor like this, and then you just come down onto the side, and that folded blanket is just going to support the armpit chest. If you've got oblong bolster, then use that. Have a block just to support your head, and then just sit on your side, on your hip, lengthen along the bolster, just stretching along the side. Have the bolster underneath the armpit chest, rest the shoulder that's close to the floor on the floor. Have your elbow just resting in a little right angle, and then just stretch the top arm over your ear. If there's stiffness in your shoulders, you can always put the upper arm on a block, and again just maintain your warmth, so keep yourself covered. So as usual, as we progress into the sequence, I'll speak less and less so that you're not having to listen, you can just relax. Just if you find that you're not in the right position or it's uncomfortable, then just adjust until the pose is comfortable. Try and breathe evenly into both lungs, even though the lung closest to the ground is probably feels a little restricted from the bolster. So we often hold our tension in the shoulders, and this pose is a great way to just let go of tension. Okay, release the top arm. Just rest that top arm on your upper hip. Push the elbow that's in the floor down into the ground so you can bring yourself back up into a seated position. Just observe openness around the armpit chest. And then just sit yourself, it's the same pose, just sit yourself on the other side, on the other hip. Keep your knees bent. Just stretch out along the bolster, just supporting the bolster with the supporting the armpit chest with the bolster. Have the elbow that's on the floor in a little comfortable right angle shape. And then stretch the upper arm over your ear. Just breathing even and deep inhalations and exhalations. Okay, bring that top arm back on to rest on the upper hip. Push your elbow into the floor and then just sit yourself back in cross legs and just observe again the energy that you have released around the chest and the shoulders. Just breathe even deep inhalations and exhalations. So we're going to stick with the side stretching. And this is a slightly briefer pose, but you have the bolster for just underneath the side of the hip. So you're gonna, or you kind of bring the waist into the bolster, and then you just stretch your arms out, and then you stretch your legs away. So you can do this with one bolster, or you can do it with, you can build up that bolster with another. But either way, you just stretch yourself out. So the bolster is supporting the abdominal region. You're just resting on one side. Just stretch out your arms, stretch out your legs. Just a little more active, a restorative pose. And then once you've had a good stretch, then you just allow yourself to just soften again. But the bolster really opens up the side of the abdomen, the side of the hip. You can just let the feet soften and bring the top foot in front of the bottom foot if you want, or you can just let gravity do the work. So a side stretching pose that just really opens up your energy. It's really good also if you have a stiff back. This pose is particularly beneficial for relieving a stiff back. And then just gently bend your knees, just bring that top arm down onto the floor and then roll over onto your front. Then push your elbows into the floor and then just sit back on your heels for a moment. Just observe the energy that you have released, a fairly impressive amount of energy. Okay, and then we'll do the other side. So just lay along the bolster again, just the bolster supporting the waist, and then stretch your arms out, stretch your legs out. Just staying on your side. Just have a good old stretch out beforehand, just before you let go. Just a good active stretch from the fingertips into the heels. And then just let the body relax into the bolster. into both lungs, evenly out of both lungs. These gentle stretches are perfect for just easing out the tension of a busy day and replacing it with clean, positive energy. Okay, and then just soften, bend the knees a little, roll onto your front, push your elbows into the floor, and then come up onto your knees. Just sit back on your heels. Just observe that intense energy that you have released through the side stretches. And then just bring the bolster long ways. We're just going to finish off in our restorative surfboard pose. So have something for underneath your shins if you've got it. Have a block just to rest your head. So the shin supported. Come down onto your front so that your chin is free of the end of the bolster. So you might have to just adjust. Have your head on the brick. And then just have your arms resting on the floor, elbows above your shoulders, hands above your elbow. Just resting the hands down into the floor. Just letting go in the shoulders and in the neck, which is again where we hold the majority of our stress. Just releasing the shoulders and the neck, releasing the spine and breathing into the back chest. Breathing into the upper chest, first into the back, into the shoulder blade region, out into the armpits, and then a normal exhalation. And then the second breath, breathe into the middle of the back, out into the ribs, into the side ribs. And then a normal out breath, and then breathe down into the bottom of the spine, out into the hips. And then a normal out breath. So just cycling around those 3 breaths, the top of the back, the middle, and then the bottom. Okay, bring your breath back to a normal rhythm. Bring your hands back underneath, so the hands are underneath your shoulders. And then push yourself up into a seated position. Just sit back on your heels for a moment, just observing how your energy has changed. And then sit yourself in cross legs with your hands in the masti, just a final spinal lift. Drawing your breath in through your nose and down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you have released through your gentle restorative practice this evening. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Conscious of the energy that you have released, that good, positive, healthy, clean energy. Just acknowledging that positive energy and then sending some of that positive energy out into the world. And then very gently release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. Thank you. So hopefully you feel as though you've really lifted your energy and given yourself some good positive energy to put into your evening. So thank you very much for joining.